All right, good afternoon, and thank you for coming out today. I'm here with Chief Conti, Chief Green, Commander Parsons, and Captain Haith, who's from our Homicide Division. Today we're here to announce 2 arrests in a recent homicide case. You may remember on May 1st, at approximately 4:25 p.m., members of the 5th District were dispatched to the 1300 block of 2nd Street Northeast, just outside the Florida Avenue Metro Station, for the report of an unconscious juvenile that was suffering from a stab wound to the chest. Our partners at the DC Fire and Emergency Management Services transported the victim to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. The victim in the case was identified as 16-year-old Tyshawn Perry of Northeast DC, and a student at KIPP DC College Preparatory High School. During the course of the investigation, it was learned that a large group of teens were involved in a fight, and during that altercation, Tyshawn was stabbed to death. Yesterday evening, members of the MPD Fugitive Unit responded to DC Jail and executed a DC Superior Court booking order on 2 suspects that were being held on unrelated charges of burglary and kidnapping. Kurt Hewitt, who is 18 years old, of Southeast DC, and DeMonte Hewitt, who is 16 years old, of Northeast DC, were transported to the Homicide Branch, where they were charged pursuant to a DC Superior Court arrest warrant with second-degree murder while armed for their role in the stabbing death of Tyshawn. This case was brought to closure by Detective Brian Wise and his partner Diane Davis, and other members of the Homicide Unit. We again want to extend our condolences to Tyshawn's family, to the KIPP community. I have had conversation with Tyshawn's dad since Tyshawn was killed. One of Tyshawn's dad's major concerns was the fear of the other kids that went to KIPP, that something could potentially happen to them. We hope that these arrests will alleviate some of the fears from our young people who were just attending school that day. In reference to another case, early this morning in the 600 block of 7th Street, about 1:31 a.m., 1st District units were dispatched for the report of a robbery in progress. When they arrived, they observed a victim in the roadway suffering from multiple stab wounds. DC Fire and EMS transported the victim to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Right now, we are unable to provide the victim's name because we have not been able to locate the next of kin. As soon as we notify the next of kin, we will make the victim's name available to you all. Homicide detectives currently have a person of interest who they are interviewing in this case at the Homicide Branch. I can take any questions that you all might have about either one of those cases.
These 2 suspects, are they brothers?
They are not.
They're not.
No.
Are they related?
They are related.
How are they related?
I believe that they are cousins.
Cousins?
Yes.
What is the motive in Tyshawn's murder?
It looks like there was a dispute that occurred at the school earlier in the day. The details of that will be made available in the court documents. I don't want to go into too much detail. It's a very complicated case, but it does appear as though there was a dispute at the school earlier that day.
So these individuals are students of KIPP as well?
They are not.
They are not?
No. Was he set up?
I'm set up. I don't think that would be, from what I know, would be appropriate terminology for what happened here.
Can you elaborate on the involvement of them if they were not students and they're linked to a dispute at the school?
Yeah, I would prefer not to, but I think that will become more clear as you look at the court documents. They should be presented in court today, so you shouldn't have to wait too long for that.
And neither of the suspects is a student?
Neither one of the suspects in the case, the suspects that have been placed under arrest is a student.
And what are the ages of the suspects?
One is 18 years old and one is 16. The 16-year-old is being charged as an adult.
Are there any other?
Which one is 18 and which one is 16?
I can. I believe Kurt is 18 years old.
Okay.
Are there any other?
Yeah, Kurt is 18 and DeMonte is 16 years old.
Okay.
But DeMonte will be charged as an adult.
Okay.
Are there any other arrests or people you're looking at in that case?
The investigation is ongoing, so we do believe that there may be some others that were involved. These are the two that we were able to get warrants for at this point.
How did you home in on these guys? Was it, did other students or people that were present provide information that was vital?
Yeah, you know, in this particular case, and this is really troubling, I think there is a lot of fear. There were a lot of young people out there. They observed a very violent act where they lost one of their friends, and they are very fearful of retaliation that might occur. So I think as time goes on, people may become a little bit more forthcoming, and as you might imagine, parents are going to be very protective of their children if they think they're going to be hurt by giving information. But when we've had circumstances like this in the past, eventually people will come forward with information. So I say all that to say we're going to urge people who may have seen something continually to let us know, because this investigation is ongoing. And we have a family who lost a kid who by all accounts was a really good kid. And like I said, I've talked to the dad. I can't even begin to imagine what he's going through. But he did say to me that he was very concerned about the other kids at the school and the fear that this event has kind of put them under. You know, these kids, they're just going to school. They shouldn't have to go to school in fear because something like this might happen on their way to or from school. So we're very happy that we were able to make the arrest. Although it's very unsatisfying to know that we have a 16-year-old who lost his life unnecessarily.
Anything on Jalen Wheeler, the 15-year-old?
We've made a tremendous amount of progress in that case. We are not at the point right now to discuss it further, but I can tell you that we feel very confident that Homicide is going to be able to do something with that case. It's another horrific case.
Thank you.
Yep.
What are the other charges that the Hewitts were being held on?
I'm sorry?
What are the other charges?
Burglary and kidnapping.
Both of them on the same charge?
One was for burglary and one was for kidnapping. Which one was for burglary? Trying to be as accurate as we can, but each of them was charged. One of them was charged with a burglary and one of them was charged with a
And
kidnapping.
do you know which one?
We can get you that.
How long had they been incarcerated?
Only a couple of days, I think. They've only been arrested for a couple of days on the other incidents.
Was it after their arrest that perhaps people came forward and provided vital information?
I think that's safe to say.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much.